You know, when I have people that come here to Cambodia, I say to them, take everything you know and throw it out the window. What you think is normal to you is not normal to them. Cultures that we're used to, they're not used to here. And so why would you come to a place where you don't try to embrace their culture, you don't try to embrace their language, and you try to just speak English, expecting them to understand you on the level that you understand yourself? It makes absolutely no sense. Good morning, everybody. It is your boy, J. Ross. It is 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm doing one of my favorite things that I love to do here in Cambodia. Cambodia has one of the best mornings ever. It is such a beautiful thing to wake up early in the morning and to have an activity like these guys. These guys are up, these guys are active, these guys are doing something with their day, and it's lovely. Look at that. And one thing that I love to do is I love to go for a morning walk. And on my morning walk this morning, I was thinking about something that I could really talk to you guys about. And one of the main things that I wanted to talk to you guys about today was the truth about living in Cambodia. There are a lot of misconceptions, I would say, about people having their own thoughts and perceptions and things like that about living in, not just in Cambodia, but just in a foreign country, in a third world country. And there's a lot of things that I've heard over the years that I would love to address, because I do also get a lot of people on the channel that are interested about living in Cambodia, that are saying that, oh, I'm coming down in a year, or I'm planning to come down, but there's always something holding them back. And that's usually caused by some type of fear that is being stemmed from somewhere, you know? And so I would love to come on here and just talk to you guys about the things that I've learned over the last 9 years of living in Cambodia, the things that are true and the things that I've felt and the things that I've experienced over these years, you know, living here. And I hope I can share that information with you guys, and I hope you guys can take it into consideration and just to help you guys in your journey and your decision making, and eventually if you ever guys want to come down here to live here in Cambodia. So if you guys saw my first video, I kind of go into how I ended up coming to Cambodia and how I ended up being here. And I did mention in my first video that I did not plan to come to Cambodia. It wasn't a plan to stay here. It wasn't a plan that I knew from Canada I was going to come here and I was going to spend time here. It wasn't a plan. My particular situation was more about, I felt the need that I wanted to go to Asia, and I felt like there was something pulling me to Asia, but I wasn't sure where or when or how. So I went on a trip and I just quit my job. I left everything back at home and I came to Cambodia unexpectedly. When I came to Cambodia, I didn't really have any perceptions about Cambodia or about Asia. I was really just open-minded. But it was really hard for me actually, because before I left Canada, I had a lot of people that I told that I would probably go to Asia and spend some time in Asia, and I don't know what my plan is. And they were just like, what are you doing? You know, are you crazy? Are you what? Like, why would you go to a third world country? Why would you leave here in Canada to go to a third world country and not knowing what's going to happen? It's dangerous. You don't know anyone down there. You don't know the laws down there. You don't know, you have no rights down there. And a lot of people actually were kind of really upset at me for going, to be honest. I had a lot of people that were just like not supporting me going to live in Asia. They just didn't understand. They couldn't connect with why I decided to go to live in Asia. And so it was a huge deal when I made a decision to actually travel. It wasn't even to live in Asia. It wasn't even my plan to live in Asia. It was just even traveling in Asia for an extended amount of time. I was planning to go for 8 months. And so that was one of the biggest misconceptions, is that people just didn't understand why. And especially in our culture, my culture, people just didn't understand why, and they didn't get the concept. Until I got here, the people were automatically the best thing that made being in Asia, being in Cambodia, the most comfortable. I was so impressed with the people, how they carried themselves. Yes, things are different, and yes, you know, things are not the same, and yes, there's still differences that we experience, but just generally how the people were just so happy about life. They were just so peaceful about life. They were just so content about life. And if we were to live in their conditions, we would not be as happy. We would not be as content. We would not be as peaceful about life as they were. And so that was the first lesson that I learned about being in Cambodia, was that I just couldn't believe how content and how happy they were as Cambodians, and just how happy they were to see us foreigners in their town, in their city, in their country. And they were just so appreciative. They were smiling, they were laughing, wanted to talk to you. At the time I didn't know Khmer, but still they were willing to talk to you and to reach out to you and to talk to you in English. And they were just so welcoming. And that was one of the first things that really caught me about Cambodia. That was one of the first things that really caught me about being in this country. I was just like, wow, the people are really contagious. The people are really just the best thing about being in Cambodia. Another misconception that I had about Asia, about Cambodia, was the crime, was the safety. And a lot of people, this is actually a big one for a lot of people say that, it's not safe here in Cambodia. It's not safe to live in a place like here because, there's a lot of crime, there's a lot of things that are happening here. And I found that was one of the biggest misconceptions here in Asia, in Cambodia. To be honest, and I'll be totally honest with you, I feel safer here in Cambodia than I do back at home. Sorry, I'm not gonna get hit by a car, because at home there's so much crime, there's so many things happening. There's shootings here, murders here, thefts here, this, that here, people going missing here, gangs, violence, all this kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that there's none of that stuff here, but it barely happens. It barely happens here, to the point where you barely hear about it. And I keep in touch. I keep in touch with the news. I keep in touch with things going on online, on Facebook. These things barely happens. It does happen, but it barely happens. It's very rare that you see, like, I'll be surprised if I saw a killing or someone murdered somebody in Cambodia. It's big news. And so that's how rare it is here with violence. And so I honestly, like, I walk out of my house with my door unlocked because I know people are not going to steal things. And not to say, again, it doesn't happen. It does happen, and I think that everyone should be safe and secure and do things. But I know that there are things that I can do and things that I cannot do. Another huge misconception is that everyone says that Cambodia is underdeveloped. A lot of my friends thought for a long time that I live in a shack, I live in they're like, oh, I never thought that you lived in a proper establishment, a proper place. And that is one of the biggest misconceptions also here in Cambodia, saying and thinking that Cambodia is underdeveloped. Yes, there are a lot of places in Cambodia that is underdeveloped. I will definitely agree with that for sure. But there's definitely infrastructure here. Like, there's definitely banks and buildings and condominiums and skyscrapers in Phnom Penh. And there's 5G internet. There's no underdevelopment here. There is underdevelopment sometimes with the roads. There are dirt roads here still in Cambodia and things like that. There's still a lot of things to be done, but Cambodia has definitely come a long way from when I was here 9 years ago to what it is now. It is just a beautiful place that is growing. Things that are developing, things that are getting more modernized. I showed you an example of the bus systems going around in Cambodia. Things are developing, and things are developing fast. And so I want to kill that misconception also. Cambodia not being developed. Yeah, it's probably not crazy developed like it is compared to Hong Kong or China or maybe Thailand and stuff like that, but it's definitely not underdeveloped. One thing that is amazing about Cambodia is the cost of living. The cost of living is definitely one of the highlights, one of the best parts about living in Cambodia. Yeah, there are on the list cheaper things around that is much cheaper than Cambodia, countries that are much cheaper than Cambodia. For example, I believe Vietnam, some parts of Vietnam are cheaper than Cambodia. I want to say some other places in Southeast Asia come before Cambodia, but Cambodia is definitely in the top 5 or the top 10 most cheapest places to live in Asia. But one of the best things about Cambodia is the food prices. You can definitely get food for $1, $1.50. You know, you can go on the side of the road and get food for $1, $1.50, and you could go to a nice restaurant and get food for $5, $10 if you wanted to. It's really up to you. It's really up to your budget. One of the best things I get when people come to visit Cambodia is that they say, oh man, like what one meal will cost me in Toronto or in America, I could feed 4 or 5 people with that same cost. So if a meal costs me like $15, $20 in America or in Canada, that could feed like 4 or 5 people here.
Morning.
Good morning. And like proper fill, like, you know, like you had a full meal, everyone had a good portion of food to eat, everyone's happy. Definitely. Another thing is rent. Rent is also a great thing here. Cost of living when it comes to rent and when it comes to having a place to stay is absolutely amazing. Again, it's up to you what your budget is. Most Khmer, most local people here live maybe in a place maybe that costs around, I don't know, $30, $50, maybe $60 a month. That's your very local, very standard, nothing in it, you know, maybe just a fan, maybe just a room. It's literally just a room. No kitchen, no nothing, just a room to stay. And that's what most local people do. And then you could also get a place for maybe $150 to anywhere between, I think mid-class is probably like anywhere from $150 to around $400 or $500. Like, you know, you can find, you know, a very low standard for $150, but a very nice apartment place to stay for $300, $400, $500 if you feel fancy. That's a really, really nice place, a really, really nice apartment. That's probably like a 2-bedroom with swimming pool and this and that. It really just depends on you. It really just depends on what your budget is. It really just depends on what you want to live in. For me, the kind of work that I do in the village, I want to live in a place that is decent because I believe that, you know, when I come back home, home is a place where I can rejuvenate. Home is a place where I could recharge. And so I make sure that my home is a place where I can spend time. Usually if I don't like a place, if I don't want to live in a place, I usually spend time outside of that place because I don't want to spend any time inside of that place. So I made sure that I have a place where it is up to my standards. I can chill out rather than just avoiding, good morning, rather than just avoiding my house altogether because I just want to save money. But again, you can find anything you guys want. From $30, $50 to $1,500. So it's really up to you what you guys want to do, how much money you guys have. If you guys come to Cambodia and you guys got some money, you know, call me over, you know, I'll come over and have some, you know, dine with you in your nice place, you know. I'm joking. And another big factor is just the daily cost of life. Well, what does that look like? There's people that could live, you know, $1,000 a month. There's people that need $1,500 a month. There's people that need $2,000 a month. I think if you have $2,000 plus a month here, you are definitely more than okay. Like, you're living like Prince Harry. You're living like the king, you know? Like, you're living like no worries, no problems, no issues. You're good. You don't have to worry about money. You don't have to worry about running low with money. If you make $2,000, if you get $2,000 plus a month, that's absolutely no problem here. $1,500, you're still good, you're still Gucci. $1,000, meh, yeah, all right, like, you're all right, you gotta start budgeting yourself. Anything less than $1,000, you gotta watch what you spend, you know, you gotta watch a little bit what you spend, you gotta budget yourself a little bit, you know, anything less than $1,000. It's still doable, don't get me wrong. It's still doable because, again, you know, you have locals here that are making salaries like $150 a month, $200, $250, $280, $300, you know. And I'm not saying that you should come and live with that salary, no, because they are used to living that way. They're used to knowing the places where to go, that kind of lifestyle, not spending a lot of money. Not like us, we definitely are not used to that. You definitely have to get adjusted to doing that. But definitely, it is possible for any budget to live here, to be honest. It is possible. I would suggest that you at least know what your spending habits are. You know exactly what you need, what's important to you, how do you live, what's your living style, and go from there. Don't just come here and just kind of just try it out. Think about what you need, how much you're going to spend for rent. Rent is probably like this is the biggest main thing. Electricity here, and if you have a landlord, they charge you 25 cents per kilowatt for your electricity. They don't get it for 25 cents. The landlord gets the electricity for about anywhere between 15 to 18 cents per kilowatt, but they charge you more as someone who's renting their space for electricity. So make sure that, you know, when you do find a place here in Cambodia, the biggest consumer for electricity obviously is the AC. So I would definitely, whenever you do look for an apartment, whenever you do look for a place to stay, make sure that the AC unit is a newer unit, inverter unit. Inverters save a lot of money, cost per month for you. So make sure that you have an inverter unit. Make sure you have something like that, because those are the things that eat away power. Right now I'm just passing a place where everybody works out. It's around 7 something in the morning and everyone is working out. Look at this. Cool. Another big question that I get asked a lot is, what are the good things about Cambodia and what are the challenges about Cambodia? And this is a good one. No, this is a good one because this one is very common. I get asked this a lot. I see all DMs. I see it and I try to respond as much as possible. But this is a very, very common one. And so I would say the goods about being in Cambodia, the positive things about being in Cambodia is definitely community. There's a lot of community here. There's a lot of people that you could connect with if it's local or if it's foreigners. There are definitely a lot of foreigners, a lot of people living here. You can find what you're looking for and you can definitely build community, whatever you're into. If you're into sports, if you're into lifestyle, if you're into, you know, whatever you're into, there's definitely a community here for you. One thing I do love, and this is me being also just very real, is I just love the slow pace of life. Now, it is very important that you don't get caught too much into the slow pace of life, because I feel like Siem Reap can be also so slow that you can get caught up in doing absolutely nothing. But it's definitely just a slow pace of life here. You know, no one's in a hurry, no one's rushing you. Everything is just slow, everything is just steady. Phnom Penh is a different vibe. Phnom Penh is obviously way more city, and sometimes I do appreciate it. Sometimes I do like it. I'm a city boy. I'm from Toronto, so I do like city. I do like being in the city. But Siem Reap is definitely a much slower pace, much relaxed pace. You know, you can sit by the river here, as you can see, and people are just relaxing on their phone. It's definitely quiet. You know, you have things on the side of the road. You have coffee shops on the side of the road that you can just buy coffee and just relax, which I think I might do. To be honest, because it looks really good. But Siem Reap is just a quiet, slow pace, which I really love. One main challenge that I still have, that I still get challenged with every year, is the weather. It's only during hot season. Hot season is literally from it starts transitioning maybe in March to around April, to the end of April, and May gets better. May starts to rain again. May you enter rainy season. But hot season is still unbearably hot, yo. And I still can't get over it. Most people leave for this time of year because it's so hot. And I don't know how I end up always being here during hot season, because I'm always here. It's hot, bro. It's really hot. It gets up to like 40 plus degrees outside. You know, it's really like, it's really hot. And so that's one thing it's hard to adjust, because that's just weather that no one should be living in. Another challenge that you would have would be a language barrier problem, or a language barrier challenge. If you come to Cambodia and you don't learn Khmer, can you get by? Yes, you can. You know, you can still get by. There are still people here in town, only in town that speak enough English where you can get by. Would you be misunderstood? All the time. Because a lot of people do understand English, but you can get misunderstood for something else. And where you may think that it's clear for you because you understand English, it may not be clear for them, and they will not say to you that they don't understand. And so that's why I say that it is mandatory in my books. It is mandatory that you should at least learn a little bit of Khmer before you get here. Learn how to order things, learn numbers, learn how to get something from the market, learn how to buy something. Just simple Khmer where it can help your daily life here in Cambodia. You know, when I have people that come here to Cambodia, I say to them, take everything you know and throw it out the window. What you think is normal to you is not normal to them. Cultures that we're used to, they're not used to here. And so why would you come to a place where you don't try to embrace their culture, you don't try to embrace their language, and you try to just speak English, expecting them to understand you on the level that you understand yourself? It makes absolutely no sense. And so I would say to a lot of people is that make sure you learn something, you put the effort into learning the local language, because you will get frustrated really soon because of the misunderstandings because of language barrier you're going to have. So one final thing, I made a great decision to live here. I think this is one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. I definitely have been changed through learning a different culture. I definitely have been changed by learning, not to stay in the box in terms of what we know, what we experience, and and how we live. I definitely think that there is I definitely think that there is different cultures that need to be experienced, and it's definitely changed my life. Like I said earlier, take everything you know and throw it out the window. That really just means, have an open mind to how things are done here. And so I suggest that you don't come to this country or don't go to any other country if you're very close-minded or if you're always going to be questioning and challenging how things are done. If you're always going to be frustrated, be like, these guys don't do, why do they not do it like this? Why do you not do it like this? Why do you not do it this way? Why do you not do it this way? How come you do it like this? Always like this. If you're going to have that kind of mindset, I suggest that you just stay where you are, because it's probably not going to work for you. I don't think that everything they do is right. Obviously, things can definitely be improved, but it's your attitude towards it. It's how you feel like you can be a solution to the problem rather than just making a problem on your own and continuing to complain, continuing to, put down, continuing to speak negatively, all that we don't need. Yeah, that's really just my feedback with what the truth of living in Cambodia is all about. There's a lot of misconceptions about Cambodia. There's a lot of misconceptions about living in a third world country, specifically here in Cambodia. There's a lot of things that I've heard over the years going back and forth between Canada and here, different things, different questions. And honestly, the best way to break every misconception that you may know or that you've heard is just to come visit it for yourself. Sometimes when people ask me a lot of crazy questions about where I live, my response is just, come see. That's it. Come see. Come see. When you buy a plane ticket, let me know. If you are looking to move here, I definitely support you. Reach out, keep on reaching out, keep on asking questions, DM me, send me comments on the videos. I do my best to answer every single comment and give you guys the advice that you guys need. This is a channel where I want you guys to feel comfortable with all that. I'm gonna get back to my walk, but that is the truth about living in Cambodia, and I hope you guys love this video. Share, subscribe, like. Love you guys. Take care. See you guys soon.